Hi, I'm Sue Gerson Galusha in Frelicksburg, Quebec, and this is CIDI 99.1 FM. So, born in Montreal and moved here to my farm in Frelicksburg when I was about 23 years old. Had my children here. I studied at Macdonald College under Gino Lorenzini. He was my art teacher and very influential. I started teaching school very young in Montreal, and even when I moved out here to Frelicksburg, I went into Laval once a week, which with 3 small children, you can't imagine what a challenge that was. But I was teaching art in there at a private school. After that, I lived here, met my current husband, who was a ski coach at Jay Peak, where I was a regular skier, and eventually moved to Vermont, where I taught school and skied and painted. Then we moved to Park City, Utah, which for skiers is the ultimate snow and wonderful, and it was also the ultimate teaching experience for me. I taught high school art there, started an AP art program, which AP, you know, is like a college level in a high school. Had those wonderful students to work with. Painted all the time myself, but it was really quite hard to exhibit there because there were so many very, very slick European and other artists in the galleries. It's a very upscale community. And then when I retired from high school teaching, we returned here, and that was in June of 2012. And we've been here ever since, and painting, skiing, missing my grandchildren like crazy, and here I am. I used to draw by myself, you know, 8 years old, took little art lessons after school, 12 years old, self-motivated, 18 years old from college, painting, always took art classes all the way through my entire life. I'd like to say that I've had the privilege of being a high school art teacher, of working with some of the brightest students in the high school. I've had the privilege of influencing students who've gone on to art schools, who are designers and architects, and I've hopefully made people very happy because they've made me very happy. What my art today is about in general is really my life. I have been doing a lot of still lifes with objects that are all mine, and everything has a background story to it. You know, if I'm painting my mother's china set, or I'm painting a glass chicken, everything has a background story to me. So you might look at it and just say, oh, what an interesting bunch of objects. Why did she choose those? But there's a story to me, and it creates the mood, it creates the colors. I also do a lot of painting of one lady at a time, which doesn't look like me, but is often how I'm feeling about something, you know. So everything is personal, and it's about what's happening in my life at the time. What I would like people to get from my artwork is a bond. I'm always trying to communicate something, whether it's a feeling of loneliness, a feeling of not belonging, a feeling of isolation, or a feeling of joy in a shared background, you know, the still lifes with the dishes and things. I'm always thinking about friends coming for tea, or family members that aren't here, or connecting. My favorite work of art, usually that's the latest painting I'm working on, but if you saw my gallery in my studio, you'd see that there are hundreds of paintings, and some really, really bring back the moment to me. And the one I would choose is called The Cat Slept On. And it was a painting that just poured out of me when my daughter was a teenager and going through very challenging times. And I, at the time, was doing a series of milkweeds. And if you look at my work, you see there are a lot of paintings of milkweeds or with milkweeds floating in the background. And so in this painting, the milkweeds are in the background, but she and I are there having stress, and the cat is on the chair, oblivious. And it just captured the moment forever. A favorite failure? I think rejection. I know it's very difficult to talk about. When I lived here in Fredericksburg, before, I was part of the art scene, I was part of the community. I just adored it. And then when we moved back after retirement, which is 35 years, coming here summers, but not being here full time, I just have not been able to wheedle my way back into the community at all. It has changed so much. The people I knew and loved are gone, moved or died, and so my failure is not being able to just be part of the art scene right here in Fredericksburg right now. When I feel overwhelmed, when I feel a lack of confidence or some kind of a depression of some sort, I set up a still life for myself, and I just work on that, and then it can evolve into something crazier or stay, but I always go back to something very tight and technical and build up my confidence again, and then I can go. I think don't be caught up in the moment. It's the same thing with when I was in school, the times I was growing up. It was a time of abstract expressionism, and the art teachers were blowing off skill development. They wanted wild and crazy, and when you're wild and crazy, it's completely different than being able to represent things with texture and value and line quality. It's the exact opposite thing. So don't just fall for what's in style right now. You need a broader experience in many kinds of art before you just settle on one little corner and be stuck there. If there's a way to build up your confidence, to take your work and show your work and not worry that people are looking for abstract when you do representational, they're not looking for black and white when you do colorful, have that confidence and persevere, because that's one thing that I am not able to do for myself, and I wish I had a genie on my shoulder or a manager to represent me. But I would say just believe in yourself and do what you want to do. Don't do what happens to be in vogue at the moment. There's like a fashion to art as well. And right now, you know, we finished with the absolute realism with people using photographs, and then we went crazy with abstraction. But I believe in skills, so build up your skills, work on your skills, and have faith in yourself. How will the industry, how will the art world change in the upcoming years? It's a very strange time for art. People, first of all, I don't know if anybody cares whether something's an original or something's reproduction. I don't know whether they care if it was made by a person or just mass-produced somewhere else where you could go to one of the big stores and just buy something large to cover your wall. But it seems to me that it's a very difficult time for original art to be sold and appreciated. I don't think that people understand what goes into a painting, and if they're just looking for decoration. COVID has affected my painting much more than I would have anticipated. I have changed my style. The paintings I have done during COVID represent what COVID has done to society, what it's done to me. Instead of painting in values and volumes and bright, cheerful colors, all my shapes have been fractured, split up, and been very rational instead of emotional. So it's a very, very different approach, but it's getting me through it, and I'm really pleased with the results. I adore Paul Cezanne. On a trip to France, where the paintings are behind you, I had the opportunity to spend maybe a half an hour by myself in his studio in Aix-en-Provence, and got to see how he set up, and he worked a lot in still lifes using the same objects over and over again, which I do. He had fabric wallpaper behind his still lifes, and I've done that. And his colors, his compositions, the fact that in his hometown, you can't even find his work. They never valued him, they never respected him, and yet the whole world calls him the father of modern art, Paul Cezanne. Where can you find my work? I would tell you right here in my gallery and my studio. In the past, for the last 7 years, I was part of Farfelu. I was part of Cour Nomade, which was also a co-op gallery here in Fredericksburg. Very fine work there. I'd love you to come, but I'd love you to come to my house, to my gallery, to my studio in Fredericksburg. If you'd like to see some of my work, you can find me at Sue Gerson Galusha, Galusha, on Facebook, and I have quite a bit of work there. Otherwise, please come visit.
I would like to acknowledge the support of the Official Language Minority Community Media Consortium and the Government of Canada for the Community Media Strategic Support Plan.